Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and enjoy this fanfic part 2. Now let's start the fanfic. Naruto knocked on Sarutobi's door. Come in. Naruto walked in and saw 3 people. It was Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Naoko. He gulped and stood next to Naoko. Alright, since all of you. Wait, he's going on this mission? Jiraiya asked, pointing at Naruto. Yes, he is. As I was saying, why can't someone else go, like Sakumo or? Jiraiya hated himself for what he was about to say, Orochimaru. They're on their own mission. Fine, I won't accept this mission then, Jiraiya replied. You will accept it, Jiraiya, Sarutobi commanded. This is very important. Can't you even see that I'm using some of my strongest shinobis just for this one mission? Jiraiya gave a loud sigh. Good, as I was saying, Naruto will lead. Jiraiya interrupted again. It's bad enough that he's going with us, but he's going to lead us. Jiraiya put a lot of emphasis on he. Naruto didn't even know that he was going to lead the mission. Yesterday all Sarutobi said to him was that he was going on a mission, not leading it. He really didn't want Jiraiya or Tsunade to hate him even more than they already did, and he didn't mind if Jiraiya led. Damn it, Jiraiya. Stop interrupting me. Yes, he's going to lead this mission. No, I refuse to take orders from him. I'll lead the mission, Jiraiya said. Jiraiya can. Naruto was about to say lead when he was interrupted. No, you will lead this mission, Naruto. I feel that if you led this mission, the success of the team would be higher. When Jiraiya heard this, it made him angrier. His sensei thought that this man was more qualified than him at leading. Do you have anything more to say, Jiraiya? 'Cause I don't want to be interrupted again, Sarutobi said. No, go on, Jiraiya responded, showing that he was angry. This is a S-rank mission. Naoko, you don't have to wear your mask for this mission. It's not an assassination mission. We have received word that the hidden village of Cloud and the hidden village of Rock are planning an attack on us. They are exchanging an important document stating how and when they are going to attack us. You are to intercept this document. By doing so, they would probably halt their attack. This would give us more time to increase the numbers of our shinobis. Sarutobi knew that the other nations wanted to end the war because Konoha was starting to build up their strength again. The other nations were losing more shinobis than them, and in the long run they would be closer in numbers. More time would benefit Konoha. When are they exchanging the documents? Tsunade asked. In 6 days. You 4 will leave in 2 days. They're meeting halfway between the 2 hidden villages in a small town. He gave Naruto the map. That's all, Sarutobi said. Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Naoko left. After they left, Naruto asked, why did you make me lead? I'm sure you can see that Tsunade and Jiraiya didn't like this and they don't even trust me. I know you're the best person to lead this mission, Naruto. I don't want any casualties in this mission. This can happen if one of the others were to lead this mission. Is there a lot of civilians in the town that they're meeting in? No. This small village composes mainly of shinobis. That's why this mission is going to be hard. You guys might be facing a village of shinobis. Oh, and here are the profiles of your team. I'm sure you already know Jiraiya's and Tsunade's strength and weaknesses, but they could be different than how you knew them. Sarutobi handed him 3 sets of profiles. Jiraiya was walking outside of the Hokage tower. Jiraiya hated that Naruto was leading, but this gave him the perfect excuse. This time, that fool will lose. He decided he would wait until he was alone with him to challenge him. Naruto walked out the building and saw that Naoko was waiting for him by herself. They walked together down the dirt road path. She touched his blue cheek and he felt a small sting. That damn fox did have his uses. Are you okay? Naoko asked him. I'm fine, Naruto said. I can ask Tsunade to heal it for you. Naruto sensed where this was going. No thanks, it's not big and it'll heal by itself. I guess you'll be leading us then, she said happily. I guess so, Naruto answered. Naoko put her hands behind her head. So, I know you're strong, but I want to experience it myself. Can we fight or have a spar? Naruto really didn't want to fight if he didn't have to. He remembered the consequences when he fought Tsunade and Jiraiya. No, I don't think that'll be good. We could injure ourselves before the mission. She could feel that Naruto was trying to avoid fighting her. How about after the mission then? Naruto was stuck, but he made up a quick lie. No, I have to take care of my team after this. Come on, Naruto, I could tell that was a lie. Are you scared losing to me? Naoko asked. Naruto didn't take the bait. Yeah, I'm scared of losing to you. I see. All because I don't have a nickname like Tsunade or Jiraiya. You won't fight me. I'm strong too, you know. This thought didn't even pass Naruto. He didn't care that she didn't have a nickname. Of course I know you're strong, that's why you were chosen for this mission. Then why don't you want to fight me? Naoko asked him. I don't think allies should fight each other. You fought Jiraiya and Tsunade. I didn't know at that time, Naruto lied. The fact was he was defending himself. This confused Naoko. How could someone from the hidden village of Leaf not know Jiraiya and Tsunade? She didn't ask him about it though. I won't let you go until you agree to fight with me. Come on, why do you want to fight me anyways? Because I want to see for myself just how strong you are. Naruto sighed. You'll see in a couple of days. That's different, she said. Couldn't we just do something else? She thought for a moment. No, but you can do something for me. I'll only let you go if you promise me one thing. Fine. What is it? Naruto wondered what she was thinking. You've got to promise that you'll try to get to know Tsunade more. Naruto jerked his head towards her. What? You heard me. Promise that during this mission you'll try to get Tsunade more. What if she doesn't want to get to know me? I didn't say that she had to agree. Just promise that you'll try your best to get to know her. Why? I don't have to tell you, just promise. He really wanted to get to know the young Tsunade more, but always thought that he should take it slow until Tsunade was more comfortable around him. Might as well knock two birds with one stone. Fine, I'll try to get to know Tsunade during the mission. Naoko smiled. Thanks, that's all I ask. She left for the Uchiha compounds. Naruto was walking by himself when he saw Jiraiya leaning on the wall. Good he's by himself, Jiraiya thought. Hey, he said. Naruto replied, oh, hi Jiraiya. Jiraiya gave him a smirk. You know that even though Sarutobi assigned you as the leader, I won't take any orders from someone that's weaker than me. Naruto knew where this was going. I don't want to fight you, Jiraiya. It would accomplish nothing. What do you mean it will accomplish nothing? He yelled. It will accomplish a lot of things. One, it will prove just how much stronger I am compared to you. Second, all these damn people won't be laughing at me. Naruto knew he couldn't get out of this one like with Naoko. Jiraiya wanted a rematch, and no matter what he said, Jiraiya would not let him get out. Naruto sighed. Alright, where should we do this then? Jiraiya gave a victorious smirk. Follow me. Jiraiya led them to an open field. There were no trees around, just plain grass. Naruto knew that Jiraiya would lead them to a place like this. The terrain was favorable to Jiraiya. Little did this Jiraiya know it was perfect for him too, since Jiraiya is his sensei. They stood 30 feet from each other. Jiraiya did a few hand seals. Raiko Heia, lightning hair. Little lightning bolts were running up and down Jiraiya's white hair, and he sent his hair towards Naruto. Jiraiya tried to trap him by sending many strands coming from different, but Naruto managed to dodge them all. Fine. We'll see how well you dodge without the ground. Jiraiya did a few more hand seals. Doden, Yomi Numa, swamp of the underworld. A huge 1/2 mile radius swamp appeared under Naruto. Naruto immediately jumped. Just as I expected. Gotcha. He sent his hair towards Naruto. At the last minute, Naruto crossed his fingers and said, Kage Bunshin. A clone appeared by Naruto's side, grabbed his wrist and threw him out of danger. No way, Jiraiya thought. Naruto made a few more clones and each of them threw him nearer to the land. It took 10 clone throws to reach dry land. This was also difficult because during that time Jiraiya was trying to attack him with his hair. Jiraiya did a few hand seals when Naruto landed, Dido Nami, mud wave. A huge wave of mud rose and almost landed on top of Naruto, but he managed to get out of the way. Kaiosei Hinotama, great fireballs. Jiraiya had sent some fireballs in his white hair at Naruto while he was still dodging the mud. Damn, it's like he's been training with me and knows all of my techniques already. Plus, he's not even attacking me. The second part made Jiraiya furious. In his opinion, Naruto was mocking him. Fine, I'll use something that no one has gotten out of. He did some hand seals, Gamaguchi Shibari, toad mouth binding. A pink matter surrounded Naruto and Jiraiya. Sorry, but no one gets out of this, Jiraiya said as the pink matter completely surrounded Naruto and Jiraiya. Jiraiya was smirking, I've beaten him. After about 30 seconds Jiraiya noticed something was right. The organs of the mountain toad wasn't eating Naruto. What's wrong? This never happened before. Jiraiya looked at Naruto. He's not doing anything, so why isn't the frog eating him? They stood for another minute just looking at each other and Jiraiya finally decided to release the jutsu. Fine, if the stomach of the frog won't eat him I'll just get this over with. Jiraiya bit his thumb and did some quick hand seals, Kuchio's no jutsu, summoning. Jiraiya was standing on the huge frog's head. The frog had a scar on his left eye and was smoking a pipe. He also wore a blue coat. Oh no, I don't want to fight Gamabunta, Naruto thought. He really respected the frog boss. Since he hasn't signed the contract yet Naruto didn't know what would happen. Come Gamabunta. Our enemy is before us, let us crush him, Jiraiya said to the frog. The frog blew out some smoke and looked at Naruto. I don't want to, he replied in a lazy voice. Why? He's the enemy. We have to kill him, Jiraiya said. I can clearly see that he's not an enemy, Jiraiya. Using me to fight a spar. I should kill you for that, Gamabunta said in an angry voice. Jiraiya was a little scared now. Come on Gamabunta, help me win this one, he said to the frog boss in a worried voice. Gamabunta sighed. Look, I don't want to fight him. Plus I know that you'll lose already. He blew out some more smoke. What? I won't lose, Jiraiya said angrily to the frog boss. He could have killed you about half a dozen times if he wanted to, Gamabunta said. This made Jiraiya furious. Even the frog boss thought that Naruto was stronger than him. Well, if you help me then that won't be the case, Jiraiya said, trying to trick the frog boss into helping him. Nope. I don't want to, the frog bellowed. Gamabunta winked at Naruto, just beat him real fast so he'll understand. Jiraiya is an arrogant person. He won't accept defeat until it's shown to him. Jiraiya was angry when he heard this. It was insulting for the frog boss to talk to him like this. Gamabunta looked up at Jiraiya. If that's all you ask then I'll be going. Poof, out of existence. Jiraiya was falling head first from about 100 feet. He did a flip just right before he landed. When he landed he felt something grab his legs and arms. Naruto had made 4 shadow clones and they all held Jiraiya by each limb. Damn, I forgot to keep my eyes on him. Suddenly he felt something to his neck. Naruto was behind Jiraiya holding a kunai near his throat. It's over Jiraiya, Naruto said to him in an emotionless voice. Jiraiya knew it was over. He couldn't move at all because he was held by the clones. Again Naruto had his life in his hands. Is he going to kill me this time? Suddenly all the clones disappeared and Naruto dropped the kunai. He left before Jiraiya could say anything. Jiraiya knelt to the floor and punched the ground. He's clearly stronger than me. The only one who couldn't see it was I. Even the frog boss knew. Naruto felt bad for destroying Jiraiya's pride, but he knew that there wasn't any other way. He knew what had to do now. Naruto went to the local bar and bought 10 large barrels of sake and a small cup. The owner looked at him weird, but it didn't bug Naruto. He made 10 clones, each carrying a barrel. Follow me guys, he told them. Naruto traveled about 5 miles out of the hidden village of Leaf. He looked around to make sure that no one was there. When he saw that he was alone, he did a few hand seals, Kuchio's no jutsu, summoning. Gamabunta popped into existence. Naruto gave him a worried look. You know who I am, right? Of course I do, Naruto. I was wondering when you'll call us to ask what happened, but you never did, Gamabunta said. He blew some smoke. I thought that since I haven't signed the contract with the frogs yet during this time that you might not have known me yet, Naruto said apolitically. The huge frog laughed. He didn't answer Naruto's question yet because he saw the huge barrels. Oh, I see that you brought some sake with you. Are you going to drink with me? Yay. I'm 21 now and we haven't had our drink together yet, Naruto said. He remembered the second time that he summoned Gamabunta and the frog told him that they haven't drank together yet. The frog took one of the barrels and gulped it. Naruto took out his cup and sipped on some sake. Ah, it tastes better when you're drinking it with someone else, Gamabunta said. Naruto nodded. Well, let's answer your question. As soon as you came to this time period with the frog scroll, all your memories since you signed the contract also entered me. If you didn't have the scroll with you at that time, then I probably wouldn't have received your memories and thoughts. Luckily you always keep your scroll with you, unlike that pervert, Gamabunta told Naruto. Naruto never heard this information before. He gave Gamabunta a raised eyebrow. So you know all of my thoughts. The huge frog blew out some smoke. Yes, that's correct. What did you think happened when you signed the scroll? We also get something out of it also. As soon as you sign the scroll, from that point forward we can look into what you're thinking whenever we want to. This new information didn't set well with Naruto. He didn't want anyone knowing what he thought, especially what goes on in his mind sometimes. Gamabunta laughed when he saw Naruto's discomfort. Don't worry, we don't really care about your personal perverted thoughts. It's natural for humans to fantasize about what they would do with opposite. I have seen some of the things you think of and I got to admit, it's pretty interesting, you together with so many girls at the same time. It was only fantasizing, okay? It's not like I want it to happen, Naruto tried to convince him. Gamabunta laughed. Okay Naruto, I believe you. He was playing with Naruto. Naruto changed the subject. Why do you talk with us then? You can already see into our thoughts. It's not automatic. We actually have to put a little energy if we want to know your thoughts or dig through your memories. It'll also be boring not talking with you guys, so we rather talk. Plus, you don't know what we're thinking. Some things that we tell you might make you think of something else, Gamabunta said. So, don't dig through my memories then. Can you do that for me? Naruto asked him. Sorry, but I have to dig through it from time to time to see what's going on with you. When it comes to memories, I don't get to choose what I want to see. I have a general idea where you keep certain kinds of memories, but it's still not fail-proof. Also, even though you take time to think things through, you still make mistakes sometimes, and I just want to make sure you're okay in the end, Gamabunta told him. Naruto knew that Gamabunta was just looking out for him and not trying to be invasive, so he thought that it would be okay if Gamabunta knew his thoughts. Naruto remembered something. Hey, do you know what happened to the Kyuubi? I can't sense him anymore. Gamabunta grabbed another barrel and gulped it. It took a long time before Gamabunta answered, and it seemed like he was thinking things through. Two living things cannot exist at the same time. I figure when you traveled back in time, the Kyuubi choose to exist during this time period instead of inside you. Of course he would choose to exist in this time period. Even though he's still sealed right now, it's better than living in a human and eventually dying later. Naruto's eyes opened. Then what will happen if I don't make it back to my time period before I'm born? Either you or the baby you will disappear, Gamabunta answered. Naruto thought this over. He wanted to live longer, but knew the importance of his birth. It was like Naruto had a time bomb strapped to his back. Even though it was still a long time before the Kyuubi surface, knowing his possible death date didn't fit well with him. If the baby me disappeared, then the Yondaime won't have any baby to put the Kyuubi in. This means the Kyuubi will destroy the village. Do you know how to get back then? Naruto asked. Gamabunta sighed. Sorry Naruto, I don't know how to get back. Naruto lowered his head. Don't worry Naruto, you still have some time before that date arrives. For now let's finish the sake. Gamabunta tried to cheer him up. Naruto smiled and took a sip of his sake. When they finished, they were both laughing and having a good time. Well boss, I got to get some sleep now, Naruto said. Yes, you should, replied Gamabunta. Before you go Naruto, even though I like talking with you, I don't think you should call on me just to chat. Only call me if you really need me. If Jiraiya finds out that you also have the contract, then it could be troublesome, and I don't think he should know yet. If you need information, summon Gamakiki or Gamatatsu, they're less noticeable. We'll communicate between them. Okay. Naruto replied and he left to his house. Gamabunta. Poof, out of existence. XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX. 2 days had passed and Naruto was going to the front gate. He saw that Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Naoko were already waiting for him. Naoko gave him a happy wave when she saw him. I'm pretty sure you all know the mission already, so there's no need for explanations. Alright, let's move out. Naruto was leading in the front this time. He knew that each member could take care of themselves, so he decided that they could hear him easier if he was at the front. Right when they started traveling, Naoko could tell something was wrong with Naruto. She left Tsunade's side and went next to him. What's wrong Naruto? Oh, nothing, he answered. You're not a very good liar, you know that. He was thinking about his recent information from Gamabunta. Naruto sighed. It's nothing, really. She decided to let it go. Well, you remember your promise, right? I hate people who breaks their promises. Yay. I remember my promise. So when are you going to start? Hold up, okay. I'll do it pretty soon. Stop pressuring me. She laughed. She went back to join Tsunade. What did you ask him? Tsunade asked her. I just reminded him of our agreement. I wanted to make sure he remembered it. What agreement? Naoko smiled at her. She knew exactly what to say so that Tsunade wouldn't ask any more question about her agreement with Naruto. Oh, so you're interested about him now? I knew that you were. No, it was just that I was curious what agreement you had with our leader. Don't lie, it's not about the agreement that you want to know, it's the person. Fine, if you don't want to tell me then it's alright. Yay, that's exactly what I'll do. I won't tell you. It was nighttime and Naruto decided it was time to set up camp. He took out a scroll and did a few hand seals. Poof. 3 tents, a cooking pot, some plates, chopsticks, a miniature refrigerator about the size of 2 backpacks, and 4 sleeping bags popped up. He left the group to gather some wood and Naoko left with him. When it was only them two, Naoko asked, Hey, so when are you going to start? He put his hand on his forehead indicating to Naoko that he was tired of hearing this. Naoko, I will, just wait, okay? I won't break my promise. She smiled knowing that she was getting underneath Naruto's skin. This was the first time she saw that he was bothered. "K, I was just making sure," she said happily. Naruto started a fire and started cooking. The rest of the group was in awe. During missions, shinobis rarely cooked. Most of the time, they ate nasty rations. After he finished cooking, he split the food into 4 plates and handed them out. Jiraiya didn't want to take it, but the smell of the food was 1,000 times more satisfying than his rations and he grabbed it. He put his rations back in his bag. Tsunade and Naoko didn't hesitate like Jiraiya. Wow Naruto, you really can cook, Naoko said. This wasn't a lie. Tsunade and Jiraiya also thought that the cooking was superb, but didn't want to comment on it. What do you think, Tsunade? Naoko asked in a raised voice. It's good. Better than rations at least, Tsunade answered while not looking at Naruto. After a moment, Naoko scrunched her eyebrows and looked at Naruto. Naruto gave her a look that said, Fine, Fine, I'll start. So Tsunade, what kinds of things are you into? He asked her. Naoko gave him a look that said, OMG, that's the best thing that you can come up with. Crickets chirped for a moment. Aren't you going to answer him, Tsunade? Naoko asked her. I'm not really into anything. After a moment, Naoko bumped Tsunade. What are you into? Tsunade asked Naruto. He didn't know what to say. When he was younger, he would have answered, my dream is to be Hokage. I like ramen. But, it seemed real awkward to be saying this to a Tsunade that didn't know him. I'm not really into anything. Naruto could sense that their conversation wasn't getting anywhere. If that's all you have to ask, I'll be going to sleep, Tsunade said. Naoko gave Naruto a disappointed look. Naruto responded by looking at her with a, I tried, honest, look. Naoko went inside the tent and joined Tsunade. I see what your agreement was, Tsunade said. What? Naoko asked innocently. He doesn't want to talk, and personally I don't either. What are you trying to do, Naoko? He does, it's just that he doesn't know what to say. You've got to loosen up a bit, Tsunade. You're scary at times. I'm going to sleep. Jiraiya was sitting outside with Naruto. Give her some time, Jiraiya said to him in a normal voice. This was the first words that Jiraiya ever spoken to him, and this caught him by surprise. I guess beating him did do some good. She had a hard past, that's all. I'm her teammate and she rarely talks to me, Jiraiya said. Naruto nodded, stating that he understood, which he did. Your food was good, Jiraiya added. Thanks, Naruto replied. Well, I'll be getting some sleep for tomorrow, Jiraiya told him. Okay. See you tomorrow morning then, Naruto responded. The small village was surrounded by hills. It was nighttime and Naruto, Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Naoko were on top of a small hill looking down at the village. Tsunade and Naruto didn't talk much on the way to the village, even though Naoko tried her hardest to get some sort of conversation started. What's the plan then? Jiraiya asked Naruto. Naruto closed his eyes in concentration. It was about 2 minutes before he spoke. Alright, there are about 150 shinobis in the village. I sense 8 shinobis in that tower. He pointed to the tower. It was 5 stories high and very thin. It was completely black and was built like an old Japanese building. That's probably where they are exchanging the documents. You can locate that much people's chakra at the same time? Naoko asked. She knew that it wasn't hard to locate a single person's chakra when they were close, but she was impressed by how far Naruto could sense people's chakra. Plus, he located many shinobis, not just one, and they were all new chakra signatures. Yes, but it takes me a long time. Also, I don't know the exact location, Naruto answered. Naoko opened her mouth in awe and amazement. Here's what we'll do. Naoko, you'll cast a genjutsu on the people outside. It won't affect the people inside because the building is protected by a chakra barrier. Right when you cast it, the people inside will know that they're being attacked. How so? Jiraiya asked. Because the chakra barrier most likely senses any change in chakra manipulation also, Naruto answered. Why don't we just kill them without using chakra? Naoko asked. She meant only using taijutsu. Even if we go straight to the tower, we would most likely face at least 30 people. One of them would surely alert the others. The less shinobis we have to fight, the easier it'll be to succeed in this mission, Naruto answered. The people inside will do one of 2 things. 1, they'll either come out and try to find us, or 2, they'll wait inside for us to find them. You're sure they won't run for it themselves? Naoko asked. No, I don't think they would. I can sense that they aren't that weak, and they'll probably try to handle it instead. They also probably don't want to delay this meeting any further. How strong? Jiraiya asked. Not that strong, but they outnumber us 2 to 1, Naruto answered. How long will your genjutsu last on the shinobis, Naoko? Naruto asked her. About 20 minutes, since I'll be casting it over a large radius, she answered. We'll reach there in about 5 minutes. That means we have 10 minutes to get the documents and 5 minutes to get out before the shinobis are released from the genjutsu. That's not a lot of time, Jiraiya said. Yes, it isn't, but it's the best we can do, Naruto agreed. What'll happen if we don't make it out in time? Naoko asked. We'll have one hell of a party then, Naruto chuckled. Naoko frowned at his lightheartedness. She thought Naruto had a better plan for escaping just in case they couldn't get out in time. Don't worry, I believe in our abilities, Naruto said, sensing that Naoko didn't like their chances. 4 against 150, right, Naoko said in disbelief. You forgot to add 4 strong people, Jiraiya said to her. Yes, Jiraiya's right. If I didn't think we would survive this, I would have called it off when we got here, Naruto said. Even after you were already given the mission? Naoko asked. Yes, Naruto answered. Ready? He asked the group. They nodded their head. Alright. Go Naoko, Naruto said. Naoko started doing some hand seals, Nihon Shuja no Jutsu, Temple of Nirvana technique. Feathers started to fall down on the town. Naoko turned on her Sharingan and the 4 started running down the mountain as quickly as they could. When they reached the tower, Naruto did some hand seals, unseal. The invisible barrier turned yellow for a second and disappeared. Let's go, Naruto told the group. They went up the building until they reached the top floor and opened the door. Who do we have here? Said a voice. The man in purple hair was smiling. He was around their age. We have 2 Sanins, an Uchiha, and a worthless shinobi, a girl in a small shirt said. She had her orange hair in a bun. Hand over the documents and you won't die, Naoko said to them. They all laughed and the girl replied, you're the one that's going to die here. As she said this, 2 members went for each of them. It was the girl in orange hair and a bald shinobi that came after Naruto. He dodged the girl's attack and punched her in the gut. This caused her to fall down. Before he could deal the final blow to her, he saw a kunai coming towards him and dodged that instead. She got back up and joined her partner. You're pretty fast, said the man who threw the kunai. Naruto took a glance at his teammates. They're doing okay. Just then Naruto saw 5 fireballs coming towards him. He managed to dodge 4 of them, but was hit in the chest by one of them, which caused him to be knocked down. Luckily for Naruto, it wasn't a high-level technique and he recovered from the attack quickly. As he looked up from the ground, Naruto saw the bald man in the air with his sword ready to stab him. Naruto rolled out of the way of the attack and did a few hand seals while he was still on the floor, mini Sarara, mini icicle. Thousands of thin icicles shot towards the man, piercing through him from head to toe. He dropped dead in a second. Naruto looked to his right and saw that Tsunade had taken off one of the shinobi's head with her punch. Jiraiya had also killed a shinobi with his hair. Naoko had sliced a shinobi's head off and her face was covered in the shinobi's blood. They were all even now. Run for it, a shinobi said, and the remaining 4 tried to run, but they were all killed before they could run. Naruto went to the headless shinobi and picked up the scroll. He sealed it in one of his scrolls. Well, that was easier than most A-rank mission. I thought this was a S-rank mission, Naoko commented. It will be if we don't hurry, Naruto replied. We still got 5 minutes, Naoko said. I don't want to take my chances. Let's move, Naruto told her, and they proceeded down the stairs. When they opened the door, they saw about 100 shinobi staring at them with huge smiles. We hit the jackpot, guys. There are 2 Sanins, a Sharingan user, and the guy in green hair looked at Naruto. He never saw this man before, nor was he in the bingo book. Well, doesn't matter who he is, the man said. Naoko was looking at the man. It was obvious he was the leader. How did they break out of my genjutsu so quick? The man looked at Naoko and could tell what she was thinking. Do you really think that out of this many shinobis there wouldn't be a single person who didn't know how to cancel genjutsus? Why didn't you come after us before then? Jiraiya asked him. We wanted to trap you instead. We weren't all awake yet, so I decided to wait, the man answered. So you let your teammates die just to get us, Jiraiya said angrily. Yes, 8 people traded for 2 Sanins and a Sharingan user. That's a pretty fair trade, don't you think? He smiled. Disgusting, Jiraiya thought. This man was willing to sacrifice his teammate just so he could have a better chance at killing them. Naruto interrupted Jiraiya's thought and said in a calm voice, "Alright guys, we need to stick together at all cost." They immediately each put their back against each other, each facing a different direction. Kunais started coming at them and they proceed to block them. "Jump now," Tsunade said, and they all jumped. A huge fireball hit the ground where they previously stood. The group came back to the ground and reformed their formation. "Damn, this will take longer than I thought," the green hair shinobi thought. He knew what would make them get out of their formation. The green hair shinobi reached into his kunai pouch and threw an explosive tag that was attached to a kunai. It landed near Naoko. "Get out of the way guys," Naoko said when she saw the explosive tag. They all jumped in different directions. They couldn't jump up this time because they knew the explosive would be too big. Each was immediately surrounded by dozens of shinobis. A couple of shinobis came towards Naruto. He managed to dodge the first person's attack and grabbed his throat. He ripped the guy's Adam's apple off. These shinobis are only about Chunin level. Naruto did a few hand seals and said, "Mini Sarara, mini icicle." About a dozen shinobis were caught by the ninjutsu and they immediately died. As the shinobis fell down, Naruto saw something that petrified him. He saw Tsunade about 15 feet away on her hands and knee. A shinobi had both his hands up holding a sword ready to stab her. "No!" Naruto yelled. With all his strength he immediately dashed near Tsunade. Just as the sword came down, Naruto threw his body on top of her and the sword stabbed him in the lower back near his spinal cord. The pain was excruciating, but he knew he couldn't think about that. He turned around and kicked the guy 20 feet back. Naruto reached for the sword and pulled it out. Blood started running down his lower back. He immediately felt Naoko and Jiraiya come to his side along with hundreds of kunais. Hari Jizu, Underworld Guardian Spikes, Jiraiya's hair immediately came up to protect the team. "Are you guys okay?" Naoko asked Naruto and Tsunade. "I'm fine," Naruto answered. He coughed up some blood. "You're hurt, Naruto. You should." Naoko tried to finish the sentence, but was interrupted. Naruto slowly stood up. "I'm okay." He knew what he had to do. Naruto knew that Jiraiya's hair wouldn't protect them for long. He hoped Jiraiya didn't hate him for what he was about to do, but this was the only way. "Keep up your hair as long as possible, Jiraiya," Naruto told him. Naruto did a long series of hand seals, Kazangan Yomi, lava of the underworld. Jiraiya still had his hair around the team when suddenly he heard the screams of about 100 shinobis. "Keep protecting us," Naruto told Jiraiya. Naruto knew that there were still some shinobis on the rooftops and it would take a little bit longer before the houses were engulfed along with the shinobis. After about a minute, Naruto told Jiraiya, "Alright, that should be long enough." Jiraiya retracted his hair. When the group saw what Naruto had done, they couldn't believe it. The whole town had disappeared. They were surrounded by molten lava as far as they could see. The mountain that they stood on early now resembled a volcano that had just erupted. The only thing that wasn't lava was the little land that they stood on. "Naruto, it's nice that you killed all the enemy shinobis, but how are we going to get across this?" Naoko asked him. Jiraiya already knew what he was going to do. Naruto smiled at her and crossed his fingers. Kage Bunshin. 4 clones appeared in the air and grabbed each of them by the wrist. They tossed them high into the air. Naruto crossed his fingers again. Kage Bunshin. Another 4 clones appeared and started to throw them across the lava. This continued for about 10 minutes until they finally reached land. Naruto fell to the floor when he landed. He was a little exhausted from using his technique and so many clones. What bothered him more was the pain in his lower back. "Well, that was an unexpected way of using shadow clones," Naoko commented when she was on dry land. "Are you tired? If you are, we should rest," Jiraiya said to him. "No, I want to get back," Naruto answered. They traveled late into the night before setting up camp. "I'll be the watch," I'm not tired, Jiraiya told the group. He knew Naruto was in great pain. Naruto, Tsunade, and Naoko immediately went to their respective tent. Just as Naruto was about to sleep, he heard the tent slide open. Just wanted to see if you wanted something to eat, Jiraiya said to him. He was holding out his rations. I know it's not as good as your cooking, but if you're hungry, Jiraiya smiled. As Naruto got up, he felt his back hurt. He managed to sit up and took the ration, thanks. Naruto ate it quickly as Jiraiya sat down. Nice move you did back there. It was nothing. If it wasn't for you, we might have been dead. I just tried to finish it quickly. Well, I'll be going to back outside now, Jiraiya told him. With that, Jiraiya left Naruto's tent. Naruto laid down on his sleeping bag. At least one of the people he respected is trying to get to know him. This made him happy and he went to sleep. XXXXXXXXXXXXX. The sun hasn't even risen yet when they woke up. They didn't want to linger in the forest too long as they were still in enemy territory. As Naruto sat up, the pain in his lower back felt worst. He couldn't feel it as much yesterday because he was still high from the adrenaline, but that had wore off today. He willed himself to walk and move normally when he got outside his tent. They packed everything and started to travel home. As they were traveling, Naruto could sense that Naoko kept giving him glances once in a while. It was about 8 o'clock at night when they reached Konoha. Can you guys give Sarutobi-sensei our mission report? Naruto asked them. Sure. Is there a reason why you're not coming? Naoko asked. I got something to do. The group nodded and Naruto went to his house, unlocked his doors and went in. He immediately buckled over and was on his hands and knees. The pain in his lower back was excruciating. The truth was that he could barely keep up with the team when traveling home, but as the leader he couldn't show any weakness in front of them. He crawled inside his house and went to one of the drawers. Naruto took out some bandage and wrapped it around his stomach. After wrapping himself, he lied on the couch. It was so relaxing, he felt that he could lie on the sofa all night. It was about 5 minutes before he heard a knock on his door. He reluctantly got up and answered it. Jiraiya was standing in front of him. I didn't get to thank you for saving us before, Naruto. I know this doesn't seem much because I've been such anto you, but, thank you, and Jiraiya took out his hand. Oh, don't worry about it. Naruto took his hand and shook it. That's all I came here for. Just ask me whenever you need anything. I hope we can start over and begin on the right foot, Jiraiya said and started to leave. Naruto nodded and closed the door as Jiraiya left. As Jiraiya was leaving Naruto's house, he saw Naoko. Jiraiya gave her a nod and left. Naruto was just about to lie on his comfortable couch when he heard a knock. God damn it, can't I just lie down in peace? He went to answer the door. Hi Naoko. Hi Naruto. I just came here to say, thanks for saving us earlier, she smiled. Oh, it was nothing. Naoko could tell something was wrong with him. Are you sure you're alright? I'm fine. He couldn't fool her though. She sensed it the whole trip. Naoko was sure that Jiraiya and Tsunade also sensed it. Naoko knew that Jiraiya, being a guy and out of respect for Naruto, would have said nothing to Naruto about his pain. Stupid guys, always have to be so tough. But, Tsunade on the other hand, the thought about Tsunade made her angry and she had to take care of some business. Oh, okay then. That's all I wanted to say. Naoko left. Naruto closed the door as she left and went to lie on his couch. Naoko was jumping from roof to roof until she reached Tsunade's house. When she got there, she banged on the door. When there wasn't any answer, she banged on the door again. Damn Naoko, don't have to bang the door so loud. Have you thanked Naruto yet? Naoko asked in a loud voice. No. Why should I? Tsunade asked. Why should you? She said in disbelief. He saved your life, not once, but twice, she said very loud. That's what a shinobi should do, Tsunade answered. This made Naoko even angrier. She couldn't believe the words coming out of her best friend's mouth. This Tsunade wasn't the same person that she grew up with. Her right hand stiffened and before she knew it she slapped Tsunade real hard across the face. Tsunade looked at her with wide eyes. Who are you? She asked Tsunade in a disgusted tone. You're not the same person I grew up with. I know you felt Naruto's pain back there. Why didn't you heal him? I was going to tell you earlier, but I was glad I didn't. I was going to see if you would heal him by yourself. I thought you were, but I guess I was greatly mistaken. What has he done to you, Tsunade? He hasn't did anything wrong, but yet you treat him so bad. Tsunade could sense that this wasn't the usual hook-up talk that Naoko was always trying to do. Tsunade could tell that Naoko was very serious. Was it because he beat you? I thought you would get over that. No, it wasn't because he beat me, Tsunade thought. Even Jiraiya got over that, Naoko continued. Tsunade's eyes widened a little and Naoko caught this. Yes, he even went and thanked Naruto. I saw him leaving when I went there. He even apologized for being such anto him. Please tell me what he has done to you to receive such treatment because I only seen him being friendly towards you. Tsunade had no answer for this. I can't believe I call someone like you my friend. Dan would be disappointed in a person like you, Naoko said. She left quickly before Tsunade could say anything. Tsunade was standing on the doorway speechless holding one of her hand on her face where Naoko slapped her. This was the first time Naoko ever brought up Dan after his death. She began to think over what Naoko said. Did she take her little grudge against Naruto too far? Naoko was right, except for that one incident all Naruto had tried to do was be nice to her. She knew that she was wrong for the way that she treated him. Tsunade left her house and went outside the village where she first met him. I know it's somewhere out here. It took about 20 minutes before she finally found it. She saw the orange jacket lying on the ground, though it looked very trashy for being out in the forest for this long. Tsunade picked it up and returned to the village. She went to Naruto's house and knocked on the door. It took a little while before he opened the door. She saw that he was in a cooking apron. Oh hi Tsunade. He made sure not to look down because he knew Tsunade hated that. Tsunade stretched out her hands while holding the jacket. Thank you for covering me with this during that one time. I'm sorry I didn't return it after I used it. It's still dirty but. Naruto smiled and took his jacket. He could tell Tsunade was truly sorry. Thanks. I'm sorry for putting you in Jiraiya. Tsunade interrupted him. I'm also sorry for not thanking you earlier for saving me twice. She couldn't look at Naruto when she said this. She was too ashamed of herself and instead looked to the side. It's okay. That's what shinobis should do, Naruto answered. She was going to say something, but suddenly felt something grab her hand. This surprised her and made her heart jump. She looked down and saw a little boy holding her hand. In the other hand he was holding a water balloon. Hello, my name is Nakashima Arashi. Wow, I know who you are, you're one of the Sanins. Are you joining us? Naruto-sensei is going to cook right now, Arashi said in an innocent voice. Before she could say anything the little boy had already pulled her inside the house. You're Tsunade-chan right, Arashi said more like an answer than a question. Can you heal Naruto-sensei? He's really hurt, Arashi asked her. This crushed her, hearing the little boy asking her to heal his sensei. She let Naruto suffer just because of her own selfishness. Arashi, Naruto said in a little harsh voice indicating that to Arashi that he shouldn't have asked that. That's one of the reasons why I came. Tsunade looked down at the little boy. Arashi gave her a huge smile and went to sit on the couch with his water balloon. Tsunade went behind Naruto as he was cooking. I'm also sorry for not healing you earlier, Tsunade told him. Where is the wound? She asked him. He lifted his shirt, showing his lower back that was covered in bandages. Tsunade carefully took the bandage off. When she saw the wound, it was worse than she thought. The wound was getting infected. If he didn't heal this soon it could leave a scar. I have to reopen the wound to take out the residue. It could sting, Tsunade told him. He nodded. Her hands glowed a light green color and Naruto's wound started to bleed. Black blood started coming out and after a minute it started to seal itself again. Thanks, he said in a nice voice and pulled down his shirt. She knew she didn't receive his thanks. Tsunade sat on one of the chairs in the dining room and looked at the little boy. She could tell that he was deeply concentrating on his water balloon, moving the water inside. Arashi stopped for a minute and examined Naruto's jacket. He really liked the symbol on the back. Naruto-sensei, is this your clan symbol? You could say that, Naruto answered him. He was still in the kitchen. It's a very cool design, Arashi said. Arashi put down the water balloon and tried on the jacket to see how it would look. It was way too big for him. He took it off and went back to concentrating on his water balloon. It was about 5 more minutes when Naruto finished cooking. Arashi came to the table to join Naruto and Tsunade. He also brought his water balloon to the table. Naruto cooked some fried rice with pork this time. Again it was delicious. This is good, Tsunade said. Thank you, Naruto answered. Tsunade looked at the boy and was curious. He had already finished his plate and was concentrating on his water balloon again, this time so deep in concentration that his tongue was sticking out at the side of his mouth. What game are you playing with your water balloon? I'm not playing, I'm training, Arashi told her happily. Training? I've got to pop this water balloon using my chakra. That's what Naruto-sensei told me to do. Pop the water balloon. Yes, it's the first step. After I pop the water balloon with my chakra, we'll go to the next step. Naruto-sensei, could you show it to Tsunade-chan? Naruto laughed. Come on Naruto-sensei. Pop the water balloon, Arashi begged him. He wanted her to be impressed. Tsunade was also interested. Yay Naruto, can you show me? After a moment Naruto took the water balloon in his hands. Tsunade saw little bumps on the balloon unlike how Arashi was doing it and it suddenly popped. I see, he's rotating it in many directions unlike what Arashi is doing. Naruto's not just going to show it to him directly. He wants Arashi to figure it out himself. When Arashi saw her face, he could see that she wasn't really impressed by what his sensei did. Show Tsunade-chan the real jutsu sensei, he told Naruto happily with a big smile. He really wanted a Sannin to be impressed by his sensei. I don't think she wants to see a weak jutsu, Naruto answered him with a smile. Please, please, please show her. Arashi was holding his hands together like he was praying. Arashi looked over to Tsunade and said excitedly, it's not weak. Naruto-sensei is just lying. It ripped apart a guy that was completely made out of metal. Yes, show it to me Naruto, Tsunade said in interest. Okay, I guess it couldn't hurt. Tsunade looked at Naruto. He brought up his right hand and suddenly there was a beautiful blue sphere above Naruto's hand. It was rotating so fast that it made her sort of dizzy just by looking at it. She could tell this wasn't a regular jutsu. Arashi saw that Tsunade was impressed and this made him happy. See, it's very powerful and I'm going to learn it. He got up from the table and filled another balloon with water. He went to sit on the couch in the living and continued to try and pop the balloon. Tsunade and Naruto were still sitting together at the small dining table looking at him. Tsunade said in a very low voice so that Arashi couldn't hear, Naruto, I can tell that's a hard jutsu. Are you sure you're not setting him up for failure? He'll be fine. Arashi was looking at the water balloon. When his sensei popped the balloon for Tsunade, Arashi noticed that something different. When his sensei popped the water balloon, it had bumps while his was just swirling side to side. He thought hard about this, then it clicked. He reached out his hand and tried rotating his chakra in many different directions. The balloon suddenly popped. Arashi's eye grew wide. Naruto saw what he just did and smiled at him. Good job Arashi. Tsunade also gave him a smile. I did it. I finished the first step. Arashi was very joyful as he said this. What's the second step Naruto-sensei? Arashi asked excitedly. He was eager to start on the second step. I'll tell you guys sometime later. You can tell Kyoko and Seishin how you did it. After eating, Tsunade thanked Naruto for the food and left the house. Arashi also left when Tsunade left. Arashi went to his house a few doors down. Bye Tsunade-chan. It was nice meeting you. Bye Arashi. I'll see you around. Tsunade got home and saw Naoko standing in front of her house. I'm sorry for what I did. My emotions got the better of me, she told Tsunade. Tsunade raised up one of her hands to stop her. It's alright, I deserved that. Immediately both of their friendship was restored. So, you went to his house then? Naoko asked her in great interest. Yes, I did. I went and apologized to him. When did you go? I went after you told me. Naoko calculated how long it was when she told Tsunade off. That was about 2 hours ago. Naoko gave Tsunade a huge grin. What were you guys doing? Tsunade immediately regretted telling Naoko the recent information. We didn't do anything. Apologizing doesn't take 2 hours, Tsunade. So, tell me all about it, Naoko said to her. Tsunade could see that Naoko wasn't going to leave her alone until she told her. He cooked dinner for me and one of his students. His student is an orphan, judging where he lived. Dinner? Naoko gave Tsunade a even bigger smile. It wasn't anything like that, Tsunade answered. How was it then? Naoko asked. As expected, he didn't hate me for not healing him right away. His student really seemed to admire him. He kept bugging Naruto to show me his technique, Tsunade said. Show you his technique? Naoko laughed sadistically. Damn it, Naoko. If you're going to keep your mind in the gutter, I might as well not tell you anything, Tsunade said in a high voice. Fine, I was just joking with you. I know it wasn't anything like that. Go on. Other than that, we didn't talk much. His cooking was good, as you probably already know. Naoko gave a slight frown. Does he like you or seem interested in you? Tsunade raised her eyebrows. I don't know. Can't expect him to just say something like that, can we? That's not what I meant. I know that you can usually tell when a person likes you or not. So, does he like you or seem interested? Tsunade thought back when she was with Naruto. She tried to see if there was any sign that Naruto left that suggested that he liked her in that way. Actually, no, he doesn't seem interested. At least in the type of way that you're asking. Naoko looked at Tsunade to see if she was lying or not. She couldn't find any trace that Tsunade was lying. He does seem interested in you though, right? She was tapping her chin with her fingers and thought, I think so. It seems like he really wants to get to know me better, but not in that way. What's the point? Does it even matter? What matters is that he's an okay guy. Are you interested in him? Naoko knew she was stepping over the line a little with this question, but she still wanted to ask. Tsunade thought for a moment. He's an okay guy. She was getting very annoyed by Naoko's stupid questions. Just as Naoko was about to ask her another question, Tsunade went into the house and locked the door. Hey, I'm not finished with you. You come back out here right now, Naoko yelled, but Tsunade ignored her and went to bed. After eating breakfast and taking a shower, Naruto washed and dried his jacket. He put it on, grabbed a large red backpack and went to Arashi's house. Hey Naruto-sensei, what are we going to do today? Are we going to go to step 2 of the training? Arashi asked excitedly as he opened the door. Let's go and get Kyoko and Seishin before I tell you guys what we're doing, Naruto answered him. With that, they went to retrieve Kyoko and Seishin and set off to the training ground. Why are we here, Naruto-sensei? Asked Kyoko. Well, first off, one of you managed to pop the water balloon, Naruto answered. Wait, Arashi, you popped the balloon? Asked Kyoko. Arashi held up the water balloon and made it pop. Ha! I won the bet, he said excitedly. How'd you do it? Asked Seishin. Don't rotate the chakra in one way. You have to rotate it in many different directions, Arashi told them. Seishin and Kyoko started rotating their water balloons and suddenly it popped also. They gave a look at Naruto. You should have told us that earlier, Naruto-sensei, Kyoko said to him. I wanted you guys to find out on your own, Naruto said. What's the next step? Kyoko asked excitedly. Not so fast. Today we're going to do something else, Naruto answered. He saw their faces frown a little as he told them this, but they quickly hid it. Don't worry, what we're doing today is very important for a shinobi. Even more important than learning the next step of the jutsu, Naruto said. Are we training then? Asked Seishin. Yes, just the four of us, Naruto answered. So are we learning a new jutsu? Cool, Arashi said excitedly. Not quite. We're going to train on stealth and detection. Again he saw the frown on their faces. This time they didn't try to hide it. What's wrong? He asked them. We already learned that in the academy. It's really easy. How will stealth and detection help us get stronger? Every shinobi had to pass a test on stealth and detection even before becoming a genin, Seishin said. Naruto sighed. You're correct and incorrect at the same time, Seishin. Yes, every shinobi has to be stealthy and they also have to know how to detect, but where you're wrong is when you said that practicing stealth and detection won't make you stronger. Stealth and detection are fundamentals of being a shinobi. But how will it help us? Wouldn't learning more ninjutsu be better? Wouldn't that make us stronger than stealth and detection? Arashi asked Naruto. He also didn't want to spend the day training on stealth and detection. He had enough of that in the academy. It won't matter how strong you are if you weren't able to detect the person that is attacking. You could be dead before you even know it. Being stealthy gives you a quick preemptive attack and the battle could be well over before it even started. Being good at detection prevents this exact thing from happening to you. So that's why stealth and detection are very important and must always be improved on. Again, this isn't just training for you guys, I'm training myself also. They still didn't look convinced. Trust me on this, guys, it'll save your life more than once. Knowing that Naruto wouldn't lie to them, they nodded their head. Okay, so what are we going to do then? Kyoko asked. Naruto set his bag down and opened it. What they saw were dozens and dozens of kunais. But, they looked a little different. The end of the kunai was blunt and they didn't have a shiny look to them like real kunais. We'll be practicing with these, Naruto said as he took one out. These are plastic kunais with blunt ends. Why aren't we practicing with real kunais? Arashi asked. Because what we're doing today is dangerous and if we practiced with real kunais it could get us killed, so we'll be using these instead. What we're doing today is real simple. We'll be playing tag with the kunais and it'll be me against you three. There are a few rules and things to remember. The first rule is that we won't be using any jutsus during this training. The second rule is that you have to stay in the boundary. I have made these kunais work in special ways. The first thing that I have modified is that once these kunais drop on the ground they'll disappear. You can't go back and get them. So we have only a limited supply. Seishin asked. Yes, that's right. This works on how you manage your inventory because you can't always pack the maximum amount for a mission. Sometimes you have to give some things up and make room for other stuff. I have also modified these kunais to paralyze anything that they touch. We can't block it the incoming kunai with ours then? Kyoko asked. You could, but you have to throw it. If you block the incoming kunai while still holding onto yours then it'll paralyze you. These kunais will paralyze you until one of your teammates comes and touches you. Once you're touched by another person you'll be able to move again. Wait up. So we'll be able to free our teammates then? Arashi asked. Yes, that's correct. I'll have to get all three of you before you guys are it. Arashi grinned. He already had a plan. This was going to be easier than he thought. How can his sensei catch all three of them if they are able to set their teammates free? Since it's you three against me, I have modified these kunais to help you guys. Your kunais are different from mine. One modification I have made is your kunai will heat up for a moment if your teammate has been tagged. If one of your teammate has been set free then it'll get cold for a moment. That's how you will be able to tell if your teammates has been caught and or freed. If you all get tagged then you'll be released from the paralysis. That's how you guys will know that you're it. If you guys tag me, then it'll give you a slight shock. Nothing big, but that's when you guys know that you've gotten me. Got it all then, Kyoko answered. We'll be playing tag with these special kunais that paralyze anything that they touch. Therefore, to block an incoming kunai, we have to use one of ours. We have special kunais that tell us what's happening to our other teammates. If one gets tagged, then it'll heat up. If one gets freed, then it'll cool down. If we all get caught, then it'll let us out of the paralysis, and that's when we're it. If we tag you, then it'll give us a slight shock indicating that we are no longer it. Yep, that's all there is to it. Easy enough, right? Naruto said. He took out all the kunais and gave them 70 kunais each. He took out 20 for himself. I thought you said this exercise also help us manage our inventory. You gave us 70, that's only 15 less than the maximum, Arashi said. And you only have 20, Kyoko said. Don't worry, I'll manage. You also mentioned boundaries. Where are the boundaries? Seishin asked. Oh yay. Since this is a stealth and detection training, I figured we should do this in the dark. You have to stay in the darkness, Naruto told them. But it's 10 in the morning. Are you going to give us blindfolds? Seishin asked. Just as Seishin finished his sentence, he saw Naruto do a few hand seals, Kokuangyu no Jutsu. Suddenly he was surrounded by complete darkness. Seishin put his hands right to his eyes and couldn't see anything. This was way darker than anything he experienced before. Alright guys, we'll practice until 2. I'll be it first. I'll give you 30 minutes to hide before I start trying to catch you guys, Naruto told the group. The three left with Kyoko in the front, Arashi in the middle and Seishin in the rear. Damn, this is a lot darker than blindfolds, that's for sure, Arashi said as they were traveling. Yeah, I can't see anything in front of me. We can't even use our eyes. Let's hope we get used to the dark soon so that we can see a little, Kyoko said. After 5 minutes of distancing themselves from Naruto, Seishin spoke up. You guys have a plan? Arashi answered. I got one, and Sensei will have a hard time catching us with this plan. What's your plan? Kyoko asked him. Easy. Remember Sensei saying that we could free each other? They answered. Yesin. If we all stick together, then it'll be easy for him to tag us, right? It'll be like a huge target instead of 3 little targets. Okay, so we split up. Kyoko said. Yes, but that's not all. We also split up in 3 different directions so that we're the furthest that we can be from each other. I will go south. Kyoko, you go northwest, and Seishin, you go northeast. If your kunai heating up, stop moving immediately. How will that help us though? Seishin asked. Easy. Once he tags one of us, he has to tag another one, right? So let's say one of us gets and the other 2 feels their kunai heating up. This is the next part of the plan. Once you feel your kunai heating up, stop moving immediately. This is very important. The reason for this is because he might wait for an ambush. But, if the other 2 doesn't come, then he can wait all he wants. What happens if he comes after one of the other 2? Kyoko asked. I'm getting to that, don't worry. Let's say instead of waiting, Sensei comes after one of the other 2. Whoever Sensei goes after should move in the opposite direction of the first person that was captured. This will put distance between Sensei and the first person that he caught. This will also act as a signal for the last person to move. As soon as the third person, the one who Sensei isn't going after, feels the other person moving, they will go and free the first person that was tagged. After freeing the first person, the 2 will split up in different directions again. Even if Sensei managed to tag the other person, we'll just repeat the whole process again because 2 people will always be free. Remember, Sensei said that jutsus were forbidden, so we won't have to worry about any clones guarding the first person that was caught. See, he can't get all 3 of us at the same time if we just stick to the game plan. So, if we feel our kunai heat up, don't move until we feel the another person moving, Kyoko said, just to make sure of the plan. Yes, it's like a signal, Arashi said. Kyoko thought about the plan. It was real good and she couldn't see any holes. She smiled to herself when she thought about what their sensei was going to do in this situation. Yay, sensei won't be able to get all three of us at the same time if we just follow the game plan. Ha! I can't wait to see the look on sensei's face after this training, Seishin said. Alright, let's move out, Arashi said, and so they did. Arashi was moving tree to tree by himself for about an hour and a half already, and his eyes still couldn't penetrate the darkness. So far, his kunai hasn't heat up, so that was good news. The others are doing alright, he thought to himself. It was about another 15 minutes before he felt something. His bag and the kunai in his hand got a lot warmer. It wasn't burning, but he could tell that this was the signal that meant one of his teammates got caught. Immediately he hid under some bushes and waited. I wonder who got caught. Kyoko was paralyzed from head to toe. She felt her sensei jump in front of her. Good job, you've dodged a lot of my attacks and it took some time to catch you, Naruto said to her. From where his voice was coming from, she could tell that he was in front of her. She sensed him jumping into the trees. Was he going to wait for the other two and ambush them when they come? She smiled to herself knowing that they wouldn't come. It was about 30 minutes before he jumped down from the trees. Looks like they aren't coming for you, Kyoko. If they're not coming, then I guess I'll have to go after them, Naruto told her. Arashi was still under the bush, waiting. It looked like their sensei was going to wait for an ambush instead of chasing after the remaining two. There's no way his plan could fail now. All he has to do is wait and play his role. All of a sudden he felt a kunai come his way and managed to block it by throwing one of his kunai. Now, he thought to himself, and he quickly left the bushes. Just as he left, he felt someone northeast of him moved also. That means that it was Kyoko who got caught. I must move southeast, and he did just that. He moved from left to right in an unorganized manner, but still traveling southeast. Arashi knew that he had to buy Seishin as much time as possible, and he could feel his sensei trying to corner him. He felt something coming from behind and threw one of his kunais at it to block it, but suddenly felt another something coming from the front. Arashi tried to dodge it, but was too slow and he was suddenly paralyzed in mid-jump. As he got ready for the impact, he felt someone grab his waist. You weren't as good as Kyoko, but you've managed to buy some time. I think you were too worried about using your equipment, Naruto told him as he set Arashi down on the floor. Arashi wasn't worried though. Anytime now he should feel his kunai cooling down. What was taking so long? Seishin should have gotten to Kyoko by now, he thought to himself. What was even more intriguing was that his sensei hasn't left. I wonder, who came up with your guy's plan? Was it you? It's a pretty good plan actually. If I catch one person, the other two stops moving also. This way I can't ambush you guys. It forces me to have to go other one of the two remaining if I want to catch all three of you. But, if I go after one of the remaining two, I'll leave the first person unguarded, which leaves the third person free to release the first person. As soon I go after the second person, the third person also move. This will signal who got caught and tell the person I'm chasing which way to go so that they could put as much distance as possible between me and the other two. Because I said that we can't use any jutsus, you guys don't have to worry about shadow clones or anything. Then why are you still here if you've figured all this out? Wouldn't you want to catch Seishin right now? Arashi asked. He was paralyzed, but was still able to talk. Naruto chuckled. There's no way I can catch him at this distance. By the time I reach there, they would have already split up again. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. Wait and see what? But before he could finish the sentence, he felt his kunais warm up again for the third time. He moved his body and to his surprise he was able to move. But how? Arashi asked his sensei. Even though he couldn't see, he could tell his sensei was in front of him. You've forgotten one major thing in your calculations. Traps. You guys are it now, so I've got to be off. And with that he felt his sensei leaving him. How could he have been so stupid? Of course, his sensei set up traps where Kyoko was at before coming after him. His sensei wasn't waiting for an ambush. He was setting up traps during that time. Arashi cursed himself for overlooking something so simple. He could sense where the other two were located, so he went to join them. As he got there, he jumped down to where he felt their presence. It was all my fault. I forgot the simplest thing, Arashi said as he joined the group. In a real battle they would have died. Don't worry about it. It was all of our faults. We forgot it also, Seishin said. Yeah, I didn't even know he was putting it up and I wasn't even able to warn Seishin. I thought he was just waiting for an ambush, but he was really setting up traps, Kyoko said. Man, my eyes still aren't used to the dark, Arashi said. I think that's how the jutsu works. But, let's get back to the real problem. What do we do now? Kyoko asked the group. How much kunais do you guys still have? Seishin asked them. I've lost about 15 just defending myself, Kyoko answered. I've lost 2, Arashi answered. Alright, I've lost about 13. How many kunais did you guys make sensei use? Seishin asked the group. I would say about 7, Kyoko said. 3, I think, Arashi answered. That trapped used about 6 kunais, which means he'll only have 4 kunais left. If we plan this, we could get him. We still have a lot of kunais between us. And we know for a fact that we probably won't tag him just by throwing kunais at him. That's true, Kyoko agreed. So, that means we'll have to set up a trap for him. We'll have to make him fall into this trap. With only 4 kunais at his disposal, he won't be able to block all of it. Let's set it up then, Seishin told the group. With that they went into a different location and started building up their trap. It took about 30 minutes of working together to finish their trap. After finishing they got together again. Okay, it's all finished. We still need some kunais so that we can force him to fall into our trap. Together we have about 60 kunais left. We have to make this work or we've lost. It's a one-shot deal. Alright, now all we have to do is find him. Let's look for him together because we won't be able to force him to the trap with only one person, Seishin said to the group. It took a long time before they finally felt something behind them. Arashi immediately threw a kunai behind him and heard a soft whiff noise indicating that someone just moved out of the way. Kyoko and Seishin jumped away from Arashi so that they could cover more ground. They worked together flawlessly trying to force their sensei to where their trap was. After about 30 minutes they weren't far from the trap. Come on, only a few more feet, Kyoko thought to herself. She was running low of kunais and she knew the other two was also running low. Then all of the sudden kunais started shooting from every direction. Yes, Kyoko thought to herself. There was no time to celebrate yet though and she could sense her sensei moving very quickly to avoid the kunais. Impossible, there's no way he could dodge that many kunais coming from so many different directions. But, she knew that it was exactly what he was doing. After about 20 seconds she felt a slight shock on her hands indicating that Naruto had been tagged. Well, that was good, Naruto said. Suddenly they could see again. That's it for the training. But we still have about 15 minutes left, Arashi said. Well, I wasted all my kunais already so I can't tag you guys. That was a pretty good trap you guys set up. The group felt satisfied knowing that they got their sensei. That was cool. You've managed to dodge all those kunais, Kyoko said. Well, not all. I got hit didn't I? Naruto said. Well, I thought you would have gotten hit earlier, Kyoko said. That was a fun game. We should do this again. I never thought stealth and detection would be this fun, Seishin said in an excited voice. The other two nodded in agreement. Since you guys won, let's say I treat you all to lunch. I'm getting pretty hungry myself, Naruto told the team. When they reached the restaurant Naruto saw that Jiraiya was sitting at a corner. He was about to join him when he felt something pull his hand in a different direction. It was Arashi that was pulling his hand. Let's go sit with Tsunade-chan. Arashi saw that Tsunade was sitting in the corner with a girl that he didn't know. Tsunade was the first older girl that he ever talked to and he liked her. Plus, he wanted to talk with her some more. Before Naruto could answer, Arashi was already pulling him towards Tsunade and Naoko. Hi Naruto. Is this your team? Are you guys joining us for lunch? Naoko asked as Naruto and the group went to their table. If that's okay with you girls. Arashi asked for Naruto. Sure, it's okay. Naoko smiled at the little boy. They slid down the table to allow more room so that Naruto and his team could sit. Naoko, Kyoko, and Seishin were on one side while Tsunade, Naruto, and Arashi were on the other. Arashi was in between Naruto and Tsunade while Kyoko was in between Naoko and Seishin. Kyoko was looking up at Naoko. I never seen you before. I know all the Junins and some Chunins, but I haven't seen you. I'm Naoko. The reason why you don't see me is because I'm an Anbu member. Wow. That's awesome. You must have killed plenty of people then, Kyoko said. Naoko laughed. A few, here and there. She already took a liking to the kid. Hi Tsunade-chan, Arashi said to her happily and looking up. Hi Arashi, what did you do today? Tsunade asked him. We were training how to detect better and also to be stealthier, Arashi answered. That's good. You know that those are two of the most important attributes of being a shinobi, Tsunade asked him. I thought that it would be boring at first, but it was real fun, Arashi told her. Really? What did you guys do? Tsunade asked him and Arashi began explaining about the kunais and the jutsu that Naruto used so that it would be completely dark. Wow. Maybe I should use that sometimes. I can never find out an interesting way to train in stealth and detection. And here I am in Anbu, Naoko said. She was also listening to how Naruto was training them. Just then the waiter arrived and they ordered their food. Noticing that Arashi was looking at her, Tsunade asked, Is there something you wish to ask Arashi? Why is your chest so big, Tsunade-chan? Arashi asked her. He always wondered this when he was younger, but not knowing any older girls he couldn't ask them. Now that he knew Tsunade, he decided to ask her. Naoko covered her mouth and began to laugh while Naruto just smiled to himself. Tsunade turned slightly pink. Arashi saw that Naruto and Naoko were laughing, so he decided to add, not only you, but all the older girls. I figure I would ask you since you have the biggest one, so you probably know the most. This made Naoko laugh even harder. Tsunade didn't know how to answer the kid. She could tell that it was just a real innocent question that the boy wanted to know. Just then she heard the other little boy speak up. Easy. Girls can't control their chakra output like guys. Therefore, the bigger the chest the stronger they are, Seishin said. That's not true, Kyoko said when she heard Seishin. Yay, it is. I also questioned myself about this before, and when I asked my parents they never told me the answer. So after thinking about it for a long time I came up with this conclusion, Seishin said. Well, it's wrong, Kyoko said. No, you're wrong. Prove it then. Fine, Seishin answered irritably. Are you strong? Look at your chest. Who's the strongest girl in this village? Seishin asked her. He didn't wait for an answer, for everyone knew that Tsunade was the strongest. Now, look at her chest. My point is proven, Seishin said. He crossed his arms in triumph. Kyoko didn't know how to answer. Tsunade was the strongest in the village and her chest was the biggest. She was beginning to sweat. Well, what about all the non-shinobis then? I see many non-shinobis that have chest. Well, are they as big as Tsunade-chan's? And this only applies to shinobis, Seishin said in a victorious voice. That's not true. Tell them it's not true, Naoko, Kyoko pleaded. Naoko was laughing at Seishin's explanations. It was quite good, though it was completely wrong, she thought. No, it's not true, Naoko answered. Told you, Kyoko said. She just wants to comfort you, Seishin answered. Arashi thought about the two explanations before saying to Naoko, Wow Naoko, you're pretty strong also. Naoko just chuckled. Arashi, don't tell me you believe Seishin's explanation, Kyoko said to him. She slapped herself on her forehead in disbelief when she saw that Arashi was bought into Seishin's theory. Well, it was better than yours, Arashi answered. Just then the food came and they started eating. Arashi looked up at Tsunade again and said, even if it doesn't measure how strong you are, I think it's very nice, Tsunade-chan. Thank you, Tsunade said looking down at him. Arashi also wanted to know what Naruto thought. Naruto-sensei, what do you think of Tsunade-chan's chest? Naruto and Tsunade turned bright red at this while Naoko almost choked on her food. She managed to swallow the food, but was now trying to hold back her laughter, though it was really hard. She really didn't want the boy to pull back his question by laughing too hard. It was about 15 seconds before Arashi pulled on Naruto's jacket. He wasn't sure if Naruto heard him the first time and wanted to see what his sensei thought. Naruto-sensei, what do you think of Tsunade-chan's chest? Yeah, Naruto, didn't you hear Arashi? He wants to know what you think of Tsunade's chest, Naoko said innocently. Naoko received a cold glare from Tsunade, but she didn't care. Naruto looked down at Arashi and answered, they're very nice. Arashi smiled knowing that his sensei agreed with him. I'm glad you think that also. Just when they finished their food, Tsukumo came in and walked over to Naruto. When he got there he could tell that his presence seemed to upset Naoko. He knew that she didn't hate him, quite the contrary, they were good friends. Tsukumo knew that he was walking into something that she didn't want him to. I was just wondering if you and your team have a mission right now, Tsukumo asked Naruto. No, not right now, why? I've got a mission and I need some more people. Sarutobi-sensei said that I could take anyone. I was planning on taking you and your team. What rank is it? A rank. Naruto didn't like this. He thought it was too high of a rank for his new team. Knowing what Naruto was thinking, Tsukumo said, don't worry, I'll die before your team if it came to that. He was going to reject the mission until he looked on his team's face. They had fire in their eyes when they heard Tsukumo said A rank. Before I accept, I'll have to see what kind of mission it is. Of course, I was just wondering if you were interested. Shall we go? Sure. Naruto and his team got up from the table. They all started to leave when Tsukumo looked back at Naoko and Tsunade. Sorry about that, Naoko, Tsunade. I'll make it up to you, Naoko. She stuck her tongue out at him and crossed her hand indicating that she didn't like what he was doing. She really wanted Naruto and the group to stay. Things were just going smoothly until Tsukumo showed up. When they were outside, Tsukumo spoke up, the mission is very simple. I have to escort a high-ranking government official to the capital. Naruto nodded. So this is why Tsukumo needed us. He really didn't need high-level shinobis, but just more eyes. So, is it alright if you and your team help me? Tsukumo asked Naruto. Naruto thought about it. The only real reason why it was a high-ranking mission was probably because of the person that they were escorting. Sure. We'll help you on this mission. Alright. Let's inform Sarutobi-sama. Hokage Tower. Hey Sarutobi. Naruto and his team are going to help me on this mission, Tsukumo said to Sarutobi. Okay. Come in, Kin. An old man about the age of 50 came in. The top of his head was bald and he wore a very big brown coat that went down to his knees. He also had a cane with him. Is this my escort? He asked Sarutobi. Yes. You know Tsukumo already. This is Naruto, Sarutobi said to him. Is he competent enough for the mission? Kin asked in a rude manner. Of course he is, Sarutobi replied immediately. Kin didn't believe Sarutobi. He was always escorted by Tsukumo and a person with a bloodline or one of the three Sanins. This new person didn't look strong to him. Don't worry, Kin. Naruto is one of the strongest shinobi here, Tsukumo said. Alright if you say so, Kin replied. With that they left Hokage Tower and started on their mission. They were walking through the woods all side by side while Kin was in the middle. It's not that far to the capital, but it'll take us pretty long if we're just walking, maybe half a day or so, Naruto thought. You're the White Fang, right? Seishin asked about 30 minutes into the walk. That's correct, Sakumo answered. Are you stronger than the Sanins? Kyoko asked, very interested. She heard that the White Fang was stronger than each of the Sanins. Sakumo smiled at her and told her the truth. I can beat them 1 versus 1 sometimes. With them working together it's real hard, but once in a while I beat them. I don't know why you guys are so interested anyways. Your sensei beat Jiraiya and Tsunade at the same time. They all looked at Naruto in greater interest. The team never heard this information before. How come you never told us that before, Naruto-sensei? Kyoko asked him. Sakumo answered for Naruto, there wasn't any reason for him to tell you guys. Naruto-sensei, are you stronger than Tsunade-chan then? Arashi asked him. He was excited by the news. Even though Naruto felt that he could easily take on Tsunade, he didn't want to boast, so he looked down at Arashi. It depends on a lot of circumstances, Arashi. Sometimes I will win while other times I will lose. They all looked at Sakumo to see if he agreed with Naruto. Sakumo nodded his head, showing them that Naruto was right. They continue walking until around 5 o'clock when Naruto stopped them. You feel that? Naruto asked the group and they nodded. Yes, there's 10 shinobis about a quarter of a mile away, Sakumo answered. They're coming for us. You guys stay put and protect Kin, Naruto said. He felt that these guys were Chunin to low Junin level and didn't want to put his team in trouble. Naruto also felt another person staying far behind. He could sense that this person was the strongest one. The 3 kids got ready, holding their kunais in front of them while Sakumo took out his white chakra blade with Naruto taking out a kunai. They were standing side by side ready for the opponents. I get to see what you're made of, Sakumo grinned. So do I, Naruto replied. Just then 9 shinobis appeared in front of them on the nearby trees. Sakumo immediately went to engage them and so did Naruto. Naruto immediately killed a shinobi by slashing his throat as he engaged them. He turned around and gave another shinobi a right roundhouse kick to the shinobi's face. The kick was so hard that it caused the shinobi's neck to completely snap. His head hung at his side and he landed with a thud. Naruto saw a sword coming down at him and managed to block it with his kunai. He grabbed the enemy's throat with his right hand and twisted it, breaking his windpipe. The enemy made a gasp of air and dropped to the floor. Naruto immediately grabbed the sword from the dead enemy and made a sideways slash, cutting off 2 shinobi's head. Blood gushed out as the heads came off. Naruto looked to his side and saw that Sakumo had already taken care of the other shinobis easily. The rest of the team came next to Naruto and Sakumo. There was a single shinobi that was 30 feet away from the action. He saw the whole thing and in less than 5 seconds his whole team was annihilated. This man was around age 25 and had blue hair that was shoulder length. It was also split right in the middle. His eyes were small and slanted that gave him a dangerous look. His body was medium-sized, about the size of Orochimaru. And even though his team was just decimated, he was still as calm as can be. He wore the typical green vest with black long sleeve underneath and the typical blue pants. He jumped in front of Naruto and Sakumo. Sakumo glared at him. If it isn't Seiji. The man named Seiji made a grin at Sakumo, then looked at Naruto for a second and immediately started running back. The 3 kids were about to give chase, but they heard Naruto. No, don't follow. Why not, sensei? Seishin asked. Naruto could sense that this shinobi was stronger than the others. While he and Sakumo could probably be able to catch the opponent, Naruto knew that the kids were too slow. Plus, it would be too dangerous. It's not our mission. He's not going to come back. How do you know, sensei? Kyoko asked her sensei. Sakumo answered, he's going to give his report. His report? Asked Arashi. Yes, his report on Naruto. After seeing Naruto fight, he would give his report to the Raikage, Sakumo answered. But, that means we have to stop him, Arashi said to Sakumo. Sakumo responded, sorry, but we can't. Like Naruto said, it isn't our mission. Plus, he's too fast. Kyoko knew what Sakumo meant. You mean he's too fast for us? If it was just you and Sensei, then you guys could catch him, right? Naruto spoke up. Don't worry. We wouldn't have gone after him anyways even if we could have. It's not the mission. Our mission was to protect Kin. But because of us, they'll find out more information about you. It'll put you in more danger. Arashi spoke up. They can have all the information they want. Now, let's not worry about him getting away. Let's worry about finishing this mission. Okay guys, Naruto answered. The three nodded their heads and they went back to protecting Kin. Hidden Village of Cloud. Seiji was traveling back to the Hidden Village of Cloud. He was thinking back about his mission. Seiji had failed the mission, but it was unavoidable. His mission was to kill the White Fang. From what he saw, the blonde shinobi was extremely fast. Seiji had never seen this guy before, and by the way that he moved, Seiji knew that this guy was formidable. He had to escape to give the Raikage the new information. With a genin squad holding them back, Seiji knew that he and the White Fang and the blonde wouldn't follow. If it was him, he would have given chase even if it meant putting his team in danger. But Seiji knew that the Hidden Village of Leaf valued every shinobi even if they were just genins. It was near nightfall before he reached the Hidden Village of Cloud. He immediately went to the Raikage Tower and went into the office. It was a square room that was lightly lit by 2 candles, and the Raikage was sitting on a mattress near the candles. Seiji took a knee and put his head down. Did you complete your mission? The Raikage asked as he went in. No, I couldn't finish the mission. He was accompanied by another person. You had 9 other shinobis with you and you couldn't take out the White Fang. I thought you were as strong as him. With an additional 9 shinobis you should have killed him. Was one of the Sanins with him? The Raikage said calmly, but his disappointment was very apparent. No, there wasn't a Sanin with him, Seiji answered. A person with a bloodline? The Raikage asked. He knew that Seiji would not have pulled back unless it was absolutely necessary. No, I don't think so. The weird thing is, I've never seen or heard of him before. The Raikage narrowed his eyebrows, but he's strong. Am I correct? He had to be, the Raikage guess. If he wasn't, then Seiji wouldn't have backed off. Yes. How strong? I don't know his full capabilities because he didn't show it, but I would say at least as strong as the White Fang. I would have figured about a Sanin, but as strong as the White Fang. This is bad news if what you say is true. Seiji nodded in agreement. Even though they had Konoha outnumbered, Konoha had many high-caliber shinobis. Why do you say this? The Raikage was interested now. Because he took out 5 shinobis while the White Fang only took out 4 shinobis. His speed is probably superior to the White Fang, which is saying a lot. The Raikage scratched his chin. How does he look? Seiji got off his knees and grabbed a scroll. He immediately sketched out Naruto and gave his drawing to the Raikage. He described Naruto's hair color, eye colors, and skin color to give a better description. The Raikage looked at the sketch intensely, and to his surprise the shinobi looked as young as the Sanins. Wait, so he's younger than the White Fang? Yes, if I had to guess, I would say that he's younger. Alright, I want you to keep an eye out for this new shinobi. Don't engage him yet until you know his full capabilities. Just report to me whenever you find anything interesting, the Raikage told him. Seiji nodded and left the room. The Raikage was thinking to himself. Seiji is the second strongest shinobi in the village, and he's usually right about estimating a shinobi's strength. The Raikage looked at the sketch again and scrunched it up into a ball in disgust. Fire Country. It was nighttime when they reached the capital of the Fire Country. Fire Country had many tall buildings with many different colors with red roofs. There was a large building in the middle of the town. Kin immediately went to the largest building. Looking around the town, Naruto saw many Konoha shinobis walking around. He was sure they were there to protect the town because it was the capital. He looked at his team. Are you guys tired? Seishin yawned and Naruto didn't need telling twice. They went to the nearest hotel, rented out a room, and the 3 kids immediately went to sleep. So, Naruto, do you want to go and gamble for a bit before we head back tomorrow? Tsukumo asked him. I don't have any money with me, Naruto told him truthfully. Tsukumo took out some bills and split it in half. He gave one of the stacks to Naruto. I can't take this. Come on, it'll be more fun if you come also. Tsukumo placed the money into one of Naruto's vest pockets. Tsukumo and Naruto went to the nearest gambling place. Tsukumo opened the door and many shinobis greeted him. Hey, Tsukumo. You up for a night of gambling? A blue-hair shinobi girl asked. She had light green eyes. Her hair was medium length, only to her armpits. She was around 30 years old and in her mouth was a unlit cigarette. Yep. That's what we're here for, Tsukumo answered. He and Naruto took a seat with 6 other shinobis. Who's your cute friend? Even though he has a Konoha forehead protector, I've never seen him, the blue-hair girl said. Oki, this is Naruto. Naruto, this is Oki. Naruto's going to join us tonight, Tsukumo said to the rest of the group. The more the merrier, said a brown-hair shinobi. He wore square glasses that hung at the tip of his nose. What are we playing today? Tsukumo asked. We're playing poker, the brown-hair shinobi said. Do you know how to play Naruto? Tsukumo asked, not knowing if Naruto played cards at all. Naruto had learned a lot from Tsunade before. Even though he knew the rules, he also knew that poker took skills and that was something he didn't learn from Tsunade. When they played, he would always win, but it really didn't mean much because Tsunade wasn't the best gambler. Yes, I know the rules, Naruto replied. After 3 hours of playing, there was only Naruto, Tsukumo, and Oki left. The others had left after they lost all their money. Tsukumo was the short stack. Finally, Tsukumo was defeated by Oki. So, it's me and you, Naruto, Oki said to him. She had the advantage, about a 3-1 in chip lead. It took a long time, but Naruto finally managed to break even with her. It took another hour before he finally managed to beat her. Well, guess that's it for tonight. I lost, but it was fun, Oki said. Naruto and Tsukumo went back to the hotel with Naruto having a wad of cash from his winnings. Before they went into their respective rooms, Naruto split the money in half and gave it to Tsukumo. What's this for? Tsukumo asked. It was your money in the first place, Naruto said. Tsukumo pushed it back. No, I can't take that. You won it. I got to repay you because you split half your cash with me. Well, it wasn't this much. You can just give me what I gave you. Naruto shook his head and placed half the cash into Tsukumo's vest. He had to put it in many pockets because there were too many bills. No, you got to take half of the winning. Tsukumo sighed. Hey Tsukumo. Yeah, who was that shinobi earlier? Do you know him? I could sense he was pretty strong. That was Seiji. And yes, he's pretty strong. I have crossed path with him 3 times before and the results were inconclusive. Tsukumo continued, I don't want to brag. I believe you when you said that circumstances plays a role in the fight, but I can usually beat a Sannin one-on-one. Naruto wanted to make sure of what Tsukumo was saying, so, Seiji has a good chance of beating one of the Sannin when they're by themselves. Yes, he would probably beat them if it was one-on-one. I'm not saying that one of the Sannins can't win, but he does have the better odds. Naruto didn't like this. You've got to remember, he is the second strongest in their village. Naruto. What do you think his mission was today? I doubt he was aiming for Kin, Naruto said. Nope. They were probably aiming for me. Taking me out would give them a huge advantage. I think that he knew you were strong and decided to pull back. Even though Konoha has less shinobis, our shinobis are a little better. That's the only thing that's keeping us from losing this war. Alright. Good night then, Naruto. Good night. The group got up early the next morning to get some breakfast before heading back to Konoha. Without Kin, they were able to make it back to the front gate of Konoha by mid-afternoon. Alright guys, Tsukumo and I have to give the report. You guys are free until further notice, Naruto told them. Yay. Let's go practice. You better be ready to teach us the next step, Arashi said. The three nodded and left. Tsukumo and Naruto went to the Sarutobi's office. I'm here to give the report, Tsukumo said. Go on, Sarutobi answered. He was still looking at some papers on his desk. The mission was a success, but we met Seiji along the way, Tsukumo said. Sarutobi looked up now. Now, this was some interesting news. What happened? Sarutobi asked. Nothing. Really. He probably just wanted to get a better view of Naruto so he could inform the Hokage. I see, Sarutobi said. Seiji's mission probably was to kill Tsukumo, but when he saw Naruto's performance he probably knew his chances were low, so instead of fighting he decided to retreated. How many shinobis did he send to Naruto before he decided to show himself? 9, answered Tsukumo. Sarutobi didn't like how the other villages could just throw away a shinobi's life like that, but it did give information about Naruto. Plus, if Seiji had decided to encounter both Tsukumo and Naruto he would have probably died, even with 9 shinobis. Well, there's nothing we can do about Naruto's information, but did you guys show anything? Sarutobi asked. No, we didn't show any moves. They didn't get a lot of information on Naruto. That's good to hear then, Sarutobi said. Naruto and Tsukumo left the office. Sarutobi was looking at his papers. At least they didn't know how strong Naruto is. Now that he thought about it, even he didn't know how strong Naruto was. He just assumed that Naruto had to be strong since he was the Rokudaime, but the truth was he really didn't know. He would bet that Naruto was strong, but there were still other possibilities. Maybe there wasn't strong shinobis in the future, so Naruto just got lucky and received the title of Hokage. Naruto did tell him that it was a time of peace where he came from. Or maybe Naruto got along with the council and they just made him Hokage. He pondered this question for a moment before getting back to his papers. Naruto and Tsukumo were walking towards Naruto's house. Tsukumo asked Naruto to join him and his wife for dinner tomorrow night so that he could introduce Naruto to his wife. Before heading off though, Naruto wanted to get his jacket first. After getting his jacket they started their way towards Tsukumo's house, but they were stopped by Naoko. Both of them could immediately tell that she was not in a good mood. Tsukumo thought she was mad at him for taking Naruto away, so he immediately said, "Sorry Naoko, but I had to." He was cut off by her. "I'm not mad at you." She pointed a finger at Naruto and glared at him. "I'm mad at him." "What? Why? What did I do?" Naruto asked, very confused. "What do you mean, what did you do? I heard it all from Jiraiya. You fought him again a second time. It was right before our mission, just after telling me that you didn't fight your allies. You just gave me a fake lie so you wouldn't have to fight me and I believed you." She had an intense glare that frightened Naruto. Somehow it reminded him of Tsunade's glare. Was this where Tsunade got her glare? It was, Naruto tried to say but was cut off. "Don't say it was different. You said that before also," Naoko said loudly. She began to put her face in the palms of her hands and started to sob. "I know, it's because I'm weak, right? Just say that and I'll understand." Oh man, Naruto thought. Naoko was still sobbing. "You're not weak, Naoko. I saw what you're capable of and you're very strong," Naruto said. Then why won't you fight me?" Naoko was still sobbing under her palms. Naruto gently slapped his forehead. "There was no other way. Fine, okay, I'll fight you." She immediately removed her hands from her face. To Naruto's surprise there wasn't any tears. "Okay then. She got you." Tsukumo laughed. Tsukumo would have warned Naruto, but knew that if he did Naoko would probably kill him while he was asleep. "Hey, let's make it a bet," Naoko said to Naruto. "A bet?" Naruto said. "Yay. So we'll have something to lose," Naoko said. "Why? So I'll know that you're fighting for real. I don't want you there just evading my attacks. That would be boring." "That's what you were planning to do, huh?" Naoko said. Naruto shook his head sideways and waved his hands in front of him furiously. "Don't lie, Naruto. Didn't I tell you that you were a bad liar? Naoko said. Unlike someone else, Tsukumo said, interrupting her. Be quiet, Tsukumo. It's a gift that I have, okay? Naoko said. A gift? Tsukumo replied. Yes, a gift. So how about it? Naoko asked him. Tsukumo felt that he should speak up this time even if Naoko was to do something bad to him. I know you're a good gambler, Naruto, but don't let her trick you. Was this right? Did Tsukumo really think that she could beat him? Naruto thought about the situation himself. The way that he saw it, he had the advantage. He already seen her profile, and when they were on the mission he saw a little bit of what she was capable of. Naoko haven't even seen what he was truly capable of. Another thing was that he had fought 3 of the strongest Sharingan user before, Kakashi, Sasuke, and Itachi. All 3 who also had the Manjiko Sharingan, which she probably didn't have. Tsukumo saw that his warnings had an opposite effect on Naruto. Instead of seeing it as a warning, he knew that it had increased Naruto's interest instead. This was always the weakness of strong people, they always wanted to see how strong they really were. He knew that it was his problem also. Naruto, I can see it in your eyes, but don't say I didn't warn you, Tsukumo told him. It's his choice, Tsukumo, don't butt in, Naoko said. What will the bet be? Naruto asked in interest. Tsukumo shook his head knowing that he had just failed in warning Naruto. If I win then you'll have to ask Tsunade on a date, Naoko told him. Damn, not this again. He really just started to get on Tsunade's good side and didn't want to ruin it. He began to think to himself. Anything, right? He asked her. Sure, anything. Alright, if I win then you won't ask me to do anything with Tsunade again. You won't suggest anything that includes me and her. You don't suggest that we talk or even smile at each other. Nothing. Nada. Zip. Not just me also. You don't suggest it to Tsunade, Naruto told her. He was sure that she was bluffing about beating him and she would take back her deal, but he was surprised. That's it. I thought you were going to do something perverted like make me your slave for a week or something. It's not like I'll lose anyways, Naoko said. You sure about that? Naruto asked her. Positive. Tsukumo sighed. Well, Naruto, I guess you'll be going on a date. Don't say I didn't warn you. Naruto looked to his left where Tsukumo was standing. Do you want to make a wager on this also? Tsukumo smiled. He never thought Naruto would ask. Tsukumo had also analyzed the chance of Naruto winning. Even if Naruto were 10 times stronger than him, he would still lose. Sure. Why not? I'll make a little wager on this also. If Naoko wins, Naoko interrupted him. If I win, I get to pick out what you're wearing for the date. Tsukumo looked at her very confused. No, that's not what I want. Remember before your mission, you said you would make it up to me and this is how you would make it up, she told him. I did say I would make it up to her, Tsukumo thought. Fine, if Naoko wins she can pick out what you're going to wear on your date. Naruto was still thinking about what he wanted from Tsukumo. Don't think too long, it's not like you're going to win, Tsukumo laughed and patted him on the back. Alright, if I win then you can't ask me for a match. Ever, Naruto stated to Tsukumo. He could sense that Tsukumo wanted to fight with him after seeing his performance against the 9 shinobis. Tsukumo was thinking it through, he really did want to fight Naruto. Naruto had beaten 5 shinobis while he only took out 4. He wanted to how strong Naruto was also. Naoko spoke up. Don't worry about it, Tsukumo, I'll beat him and you'll get your shot. Tsukumo nodded. Alright, sure, if you win I won't ask you for a match. This took Naruto by surprise. Is Naoko this strong? Is that all then? Naoko asked Naruto. Sure. Where are we fighting then? Naruto asked her. You can pick. I don't want you to think that I had the advantage when I win. Naruto looked into her eyes. He could see that she didn't have any doubt about losing. Alright, let's go to training ground 6. Naruto was about to leave when he saw Tsukumo leaving in a different direction. Are you going to watch the match? Naruto asked him as he was about to leave. No thanks. I'll find out the results later and I've got to get back home right now. Plus, I don't want to see your moves. I rather see it firsthand, and he left. So, just me and you then, Naoko said to Naruto. Naoko followed Naruto to training ground 6. They were both in the open field. Both of them got into their fighting stances. Whenever you're ready, Naruto said to her. Naoko activated her Sharingan and appeared behind Naruto. She tried to punch the side of his stomach, but he jumped up and out of the way before it connected. Just as I thought. She's fast, but nowhere near Sasuke or Itachi. He decided that he would match her speed and keep increasing it little by little just to see how fast she really was. As he increased his speed over time, Naruto could see that she was having a harder time dodging his attacks even though none of them had landed yet. After about 5 minutes of nothing but using taijutsu, Naoko suddenly stopped. Is something wrong? Naruto asked. I see what you're doing. How about we skip this warm-up and fight for real? Naoko said in a cheery voice. Naruto raised one of his eyebrows. Are you sure? She nodded. Okay. Get ready then, Naruto said, smiling at her. She nodded again and got into her fighting stance. Naoko was looking at Naruto when suddenly he disappeared from her sight. She had a second to make a gasp. This was the first time that anyone had disappeared from her sight when she had the Sharingan activated. At the corner of her eyes she saw Naruto's right hand coming for the left side of her face. Naoko managed to duck under it, but was greeted with a knee to her face. This knocked her down, but she immediately got up and jumped about 20 feet away from Naruto. A small drip of blood came down the side of her mouth and she licked it with her tongue. You're pretty fast. Shitty's extremely fast to make me lose sight of him when my Sharingan is activated. She was really enjoying this. From what she heard from Jiraiya, Naruto didn't go all out on him. Naoko also knew that Naruto was still holding a lot back, but she was satisfied that he actually intended on winning. As Naruto came closer, she quickly did a few hand seals and said, Koriyuka, ice floor. The ground immediately turned into ice. Because of moving at such a high speed, Naruto lost his balance. He looked directly forward and could see that Naoko was ready to stab his face with a kunai. At the last second, Naruto managed to twist his body to avoid the attack. As Naruto twisted his body to avoid the attack, he also managed to take off his jacket. Holding on to the sleeve of his jacket, he managed to fling the jacket around her forearms. The jacket wrapped around her wrist and Naruto was able to twist her hand behind her. Naruto was standing directly behind her in control of her right hand. He pulled the jacket higher, which caused her a lot of pain on her right shoulder. You give up? Naruto asked. No way, she immediately replied. Naruto pulled up a little harder. Naoko made a small noise when he did this. Look, Naoko, just give up. I don't want to dislocate your shoulders. Naoko didn't answer, but instead swung her right leg upwards. Her hamstrings connected Naruto's precious spot and caused him to lose his grip on the jacket. As he fell to the floor, she did a few hand seals, Mizu Bakufu, water blast. Naoko knew it was a really weak jutsu, but her shoulder was in pain and it hurt every time she performed a seal. The jutsu wasn't meant to damage him anyways, it was just to stall him. A small amount of water about the size of a basketball formed in front of her and she sent it towards Naruto. Because of the water's contact with the ice, Naruto's knees were stuck to the ice. He managed to do a few quick hand seals while his knees were still stuck to the ice. Hausenka no Jutsu, mythical fire phoenix technique. About 10 fireballs were sent at Naoko, but she managed to dodge them all and ran into the woods. She moved through the woods as fast as she could while still holding her right shoulder. He probably could have broken it if he wanted to. Naruto finally freed himself from the ground and was cautiously walking through the woods now. Naoko was standing behind a tree and waiting for Naruto. She had just set up a trap. I know you're strong, but let's see how you do against traps. It was about 5 minutes before she saw Naruto walking causally towards her trap. Then all of a sudden, boom, her trap went off. She gasped in horror. What had she done? She really didn't think Naruto would fall for such an easy trap. You know, if I didn't know any better, I would say that you were actually worried, a voice came from behind her. She didn't look behind her, but instead looked at the trap. Naoko saw a poof of smoke and her eyes widen. A clone. Naoko stepped on a branch right behind her and suddenly a net from under Naruto snatched him up. You talk too much, you know that, she yelled up at him. Then all of a sudden another, pop. Another clone. Naruto's upper body appeared directly out of the tree that she was leaning on. He was the one that trapped me. Naruto did a few quick hand seals before she could react. Kumo Neto, spider net. A large white net appeared in front of him and wrapped around Naoko. She struggled as she hit the floor. He came out of the tree and looked down at her. You can't break this net in time to do anything, Naoko. It's harder than steel. So, can we conclude that you have lost? She looked up at him and smiled. Her eyes started to spin and suddenly Naruto couldn't see anything, only blackness. He blinked a few times before he got his vision back. As Naruto regained his vision, he could see that he wasn't at the woods anymore. There was nothing except white walls and a door, sort of like a hospital room. Naruto also noticed that he wasn't standing anymore and was instead lying on his back on a bed. He tried to move his arms and legs, but couldn't because they were tied to each end of the bedpost. Naruto also noticed that he didn't have his shirt on. He heard a creak and looked towards the door. Naoko came inside, but she wasn't wearing her Anbu uniform. Instead she was wearing a white robe, an extremely short white robe. She slowly walked towards the bed and sat on it. To her surprise, Naruto had on a very familiar necklace. If she didn't know any better, she would have said it was the same one as Tsunade's. Naoko put this thought out of her mind. As Naoko sat down on the bed, one side of the robe slightly fell off, showing the tattoo on her shoulders. Can you help me get out of this, Naoko? He asked her. She smiled at him. Now why would I want to do that? Naoko slowly laid down next to him and was facing the side of his face. You know how I always try to hook you up with Tsunade. Naruto didn't answer. Well, I was just thinking. Maybe you don't want to get together with her. Maybe you want to get with me, she said softly in seducing tone. As she was saying that, she slowly moved her index finger up and down his body. Stop joking, Naoko, and help me get out of this. I really don't think you want to get out. What are you going to do to me? Naoko slowly moved her face towards his ears and whispered, what does it look like I'm going to do? I'm going to your brains out. When Naruto heard this, he pulled as hard as he could with his right arm, but it didn't do anything. She continued to whisper to him, don't fight it, I know you've fantasized about this before. You know, being helpless and being forced to have without your will by a girl. Naoko licked his cheek softly with the tip of her tongue. Naruto couldn't lie to himself, he had fantasized it before, but that was only fantasizing. Now that it was about to happen, he was both excited and scared at the same time. Stop playing, Naoko. Who says I'm playing? She whispered. She got on top of his chest in a straddle position and bent over so she could talk to him. What's wrong, Naruto? Am I not good enough for you? She whispered. She slowly took off her robe, revealing her body. How about now? She whispered again. Naruto had no answer. He was too memorized by her features. Naruto couldn't take his eyes off her round and small waist body. He couldn't lie to himself, she was very attractive. She kissed the side of his neck very hard and roughly slid his pants off with her legs. She looked back and could see that Naruto was semi-hard. Naoko giggled. Are you trying to fight it, Naruto? Looks like I'll have to work you. She slid the inside of her legs lower and lower till she reached his stomach. Naruto noticed that she rubbed against him the whole way. He couldn't help it now, he was completely turned on. She gave another look back. I see you're enjoying this. Naoko continued down until she was right above his rock-hard shaft. She put her hands on his chest. Naoko kept moving her opening around the tip of his shaft, slightly rubbing it, but not putting it in. She's teasing the hell out of me, Naruto thought. Naruto could sense that she was about to put it in and he closed his eyes ready for it, but instead she stopped. You know, it seems like I'm forcing you, but this is just a scene. You have complete control. So do you want me to put it in or do you want me to stop? She whispered to his ears. She waited for an answer, but no words came from Naruto. I'll ask you one more time, Naruto. Do you want me to put it in or do you want me to stop? She whispered seductively. I want you to put it in, Naruto said softly. Naoko rubbed his chest again and whispered, just as I thought. Under all that righteousness you're just man after all. She slowly moved her body down again and he was ready for it. Suddenly it was pitch black again. He blinked a few times and saw the forest. Naruto felt a sword to his neck. You lose, Naruto, Naoko said happily. What happened? Naruto was dazed and confused. What happened was you lost. I could have killed you at least 15 times already. He remembered where he was now. He was fighting with Naoko when all of a sudden he was brought into a room. It suddenly clicked. That was an illusion. With a jutsu like this she can kill half of the adult shinobis one-on-one, well maybe not Orochimaru. Naoko laughed. Yep. How did you like it? So, this was why Sakuma warned me. This jutsu makes my Warok no Jutsu, why no Jutsu, look like child's play. I couldn't have stopped this no matter how strong I am. She looked down at his pants when he didn't answer and saw a part of his pants sticking out. Naoko laughed again. I guess you liked it. So do I win. Naruto sighed. That was sort of. Naoko cut him off. You lost fair and square. You didn't even try to break out. Yeah, I was too busy, Naruto said. Well, that's the point of a genjutsu, isn't it? It's even easier if your opponent doesn't remember to even try and break out of it. You still lost though. Okay, you win. Naoko removed her sword from his throat and handed him his jacket. He knew that she wasn't being generous. She was proving a point. Naoko, I believed you when you said you could have killed me at least 15 times, alright. You don't have to prove it to me. Naoko smiled. I know. But it's better if I do, just so you won't have any doubts that I could have killed you if I wanted to. Naoko tapped her chin in a thinking manner. Anyways, about our bet. Come on, Naoko, Naruto pleaded. Let me out of this one. I'll do anything you want. I'll be your slave for a month. I'll give you my salary for a year. How about that? He really didn't like the thought of asking Tsunade out on a date. For one, he was getting closer to the young Tsunade and asking her on a date could ruin this. Second, the thought of going on a date with Tsunade really scared him. He only agreed to the bet because he thought that he had no chance of losing. How wrong he was. Nah, Naruto. A bet's a bet. If you didn't want to do it in the first place, you shouldn't have bet, Naoko told him. Not like you gave me a choice, Naruto said. You had a choice. You could have just ignored me, Naruto replied. Yes, just ignore a woman who's crying in the middle of the street, Naruto said. Yep, you could have done just that. Plus, you could have back out of the bed after that. Anyways, you will ask Tsunade later on today, Naoko commanded. Today? That's so early, Naruto tried to reason with her. It has to be today. We don't know when missions will come in. Oh yeah, this is obvious, but you can't tell her about this bet. You will ask her today and we'll go shopping for your suit tomorrow. Her eyes gleamed when she said this. Knowing his defeat, he finally accepted. But he saw a problem with this. What will happen if she says, no? I don't want to be shopping for something if I'm not going anywhere. Naoko actually laughed out loud. She'll say, yes. Come on now. And you know this because. I know this because I'm her best friend. She'll say yes and we'll go shopping tomorrow. And if she says, no? Naruto asked again. Naoko closed her eyes and shook her head. Fine, fine. If she says, no, you're off the hook and we don't have to go shopping. You also don't owe me anything. Feel better now. Naruto smiled. Not like that'll happen. You don't want to go on a date with Tsunade or what? She's real pretty and she's a nice person once you get to know her. I'm doing you a favor, don't you see? I know she's a nice person. It's just that it's weird for me, Naruto said. Weird? How is it weird? It's not like she's your mother or something, Naoko said. Exactly. I consider her as my mother, Naruto thought to himself.